What is going on, guys? SkiveWalker here. Now, today we're going to have a little bit of a different video. We're not going to have one certain topic. We're going to have different topics. Really, this is just me and the Fett. We're just going to hang out, talk right before he heads to work, because as you guys probably know, he works third shifts. So just while we have the time to get together, we're just going to talk a little bit, have some fun, just go over a wide range of different things in sports, different topics of what's going on. We're going to definitely talk about these last two Cavs games. So if you guys are hyped, if you guys are excited for this video, make sure you hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. We'll definitely make sure we contact you in the comments. But other than that, what's going on, man?
What is going on besides being down 0-2?
Well, you know, a lot of people's panic meters are going through the roof. And, yeah, considering I said we were going to sweep or win in 5, and that neither of those are obviously going to happen.
Well, the sweep thing might happen, just not the way
for us.
we thought.
So my emergency meter went from a 2, and I'm right about a 5 or 6, probably a 5.5. I still think the Cavs will win the series, even though it looks terrible. And Game 2's loss was no excuse, considering we were up, 14 coming out of halftime, and then we straight blow that game.
The largest lead was 11, and then we were outscored in the third by 14.
That's what, okay, yeah. So I just got the numbers mixed up. But yeah, so we looked ugly coming out of the second half, and that has been a trend with a Coach Ty Lue team.
Yes. How about his no adjustments? Comes out, they stay in the same scheme for the second half. Brad Stevens goes in the locker room at halftime. Next thing you know, he takes the lead, and then they never look back. And unfortunately, what they're doing with LeBron, all right, they're like we said, like we talked about in our last show, they're going to let LeBron get his. You know, he dropped the triple-double, 40 points. He did everything that man could, okay? And they still lost by double digits. What more can we say? The role guys, which I think we're about to talk about, are not producing. I think from a coaching standpoint, we're seeing that Lue is completely out of his element. He might be the worst coach ever to win an NBA title.
He is definitely the worst coach to ever win an NBA title.
So let's go ahead. Let's hop into...
Yeah, talking about these role players. Now, I showed you these. I'm not going to break it down game by game because it's going to take us way too long. But if you guys are very interested in what we're going to talk about, because we're just going to do a brief overview of it, you can go to ESPN, or what I did, which is very easy. Just go on Google, type in Rodney Hood, Jordan Clarkson, George Hill, Larry Nance. Not all at the same time, but one by one, and then type in their 2017 to 2018 game logs. It'll send you right to ESPN. You just click on more, go to their game logs, and it'll actually tell you when they got acquired by the Cavs and then when they were still with their previous teams. So the reason why I did this, I was curious to see how they performed after we got them compared to where we are in the playoffs. Okay, so, and here's kind of what we found out. And when me and the Fed got together, I started showing him this, and he was just as shocked as I was. So when we got all these guys, Rodney Hood, Jordan Clarkson, George Hill, Larry Nance, they came out like gangbangers. They were unstoppable. We couldn't win. Now, their numbers continued to stay about the same. They were still very good, but we were still losing games, which I think is more on Ty Lue's fault, because when Larry Drew was our coach, we were, 9-1, 8-1, something like that in that 8-1 in that 9-game stretch.
Yes.
Their numbers stayed consistent, but we still kept taking L's, mainly because Ty Lue is just not a very good coach. But also, you could tell towards the end of the regular season, especially when their losses started to come, Ty Lue was really getting his playoff rotation ready to go. And you could see that because he started losing trust in Rodney Hood, Jordan Clarkson, George Hill, Larry Nance. Well, maybe not even so much George Hill, because you're seeing he's playing 33 minutes a night and still putting up goose eggs. So, but he started losing faith in his young guys who were still putting up good numbers when he played. So people are harping on these guys saying maybe they're just not ready for the moment. And I don't think that's it. I think they are ready. I think they're excited to play, but they haven't played significant minutes in so long they are extremely rusty.
Yes. I want to hit on one key factor. For instance, everyone's a guard except Larry Nance. If you guys remember, Kevin Love had the shoulder injury, and he was out. So as soon as they got Larry Nance, boom, they plugged him into the post, got a lot of minutes. He produced for the most part, but now
we don't need Larry Nance to score. We need his energy. He's basically Tristan Thompson 2.0, which is fine.
Yes.
As long as you don't have them both on the court at the same time, right? Because you don't need two of those guys. But when Tristan, but as bad as our defense is, Larry Nance plays good defense. I don't need him to fill up the stat sheet. Yeah. I need him to get rebounds and then just guard the paint. So when Tristan comes off the court, if you can put Larry Nance in there, obviously it's not an Andre Drummond or DeAndre Jordan or one of the top centers, but at least it's better than Kevin Love at the center.
And I hate to bring it up, but TT and Nance, they have the same skill set where they crash the boards hard. Mm-hmm. They're great in transition. They're great about 5 feet from the basket, but as soon as you ask them to make a 10-foot jumper, you're seeing a brick.
At least Larry Nance can at least somewhat shoot a three, and you have to at least guard him. Tristan, if Tristan's at the three, you can just sit back. Larry Nance can at least fire, and he's going to make probably 25%.
Tristan doesn't need guarded at the foul line.
Yeah, right, exactly. But at least Larry Nance, what's more unique about him than Tristan Thompson looks awkward as heck when he's dribbling the ball and running around, but at least Larry Nance dribbles the ball very well for a big fella.
He does. And the guards, so to speak, with Clarkson, Hill, and Rodney Hood. All right, so you got these guys. We're shuffling them into the starting lineup with JR. Jose Calderon has been absent since the regular season.
Again, another guy who performed with them, and I was 100% against Jose Calderon. I did not like him. I thought he was terrible. But you know what? He's had a very good year as a backup point guard role.
Yes, he has.
And even this playoff, you see his number or his minutes get cut down. George Hills goes up. George Hill still continues to put goose eggs up. But when Jose Calderon comes in, even off the bench, he's still putting in 8 points a game.
And he still comes in, and for a 35-year-old, I believe, he puts in the high energy. You know what I mean? He comes in, and he doesn't look his age because he's still playing with the flow of the game. Where, I'm watching George Hill, man, like,
he's done. I'm so done with this guy.
You can't play 30 minutes a game and not score. You can't play 30 minutes a game and have under 4 assists, especially when you're running the one. And now the Cavs offense right now is basically an isolation LeBron, everyone, extended out. But as we're seeing with the Celtics defense and Brad Stevens being a master tacticianer, his strategies are paying off. He's letting LeBron do what he wants. LeBron's not getting to the hole. The Cavs aren't in transition dunking. They're having to set an offense up. And honestly, I just don't think this team is built for that.
No.
And the LeBron is doing what he can. I know a lot of haters out there saying, oh, LeBron this, LeBron that. But it's not on LeBron. It's the coach, okay? And Tyrone Lue has the worst sets, both offense and defenses. His substitutions, I mean, he's not bad.
Sense. Dude, I didn't even pay attention to this because I'm going to be honest, I fell asleep at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. Once the Cavs blew the lead, I was kind of done because I knew I knew it was over. I knew the Cavs weren't going to come back unless there was a miracle. And I watched it until, I wouldn't say I turned it off right when the game started to get ugly, but the Cavs came back to within 5, and then it went right back to 12, and then I was done.
Yeah.
And I think that is 100% on Ty Lue because at the start of the fourth quarter, LeBron James and Kevin Love, who are your 2 highest scorers, were on the bench at the same time.
Yes.
Ty Lue, how do you do that? And then how do you continue to let George Hill run, like the Fett said, run 33 minutes a night? And the guy, okay, if he doesn't put up points, fine.
Why is he playing?
Right, well, that too. But I'm okay with that as long as you're spreading the ball around and getting assists, which is fine. As long as you're getting assists, but also playing defense, which he's known for as one of the best defensive point guards in the game. And we're not even seeing that in the playoffs. Now we're seeing you not play defense. We're seeing you not score, and you're getting 5 or less assists a game.
Yes.
And all those combined, you need to get off the court. Okay, maybe you don't want to trust Jordan Clarkson for 33 minutes a game. I can understand that. Let him get his feet wet in the playoffs as it is his third playoff series now, but his first real taste of the playoffs and his first real taste of the Eastern Conference Finals. Fine. But Ty Lue's biggest mistake was this whole time. He could have been grooming him for the playoffs, for the finals, because he really does have that skill set of Kyrie Irving. Now, obviously, he's not as good as Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is a top 5 point guard in the league.
Yes.
But he does have that skill set where he looks to score first. LeBron has proven he works very well with a point guard who does that. Why were we not playing George Hill 20 minutes a game just to start, right? Now, when we saw George Hill was not performing the way that he should have, like we had talked about, Jose Calderon, who, again, is not a good defender, has never been a good defender in his career,
right,
is all of a sudden a much better defender in this playoffs than George Hill has been this whole time.
Yes.
The roles have completely flipped. So why are we not playing Jose Calderon to mentor a Jordan Clarkson? Because Jordan Clarkson has that skill set where he's never going to be Kyrie Irving.
Right.
He will never be that. But he could be a starting point guard in this league and a legitimate player. I mean, he's a guy who led bench players this year in scoring. And I didn't know this until today. He averaged for the whole season, not just with the Cavs, but with both teams, 14.9 points off the bench. Let me see him start and get 25, 30 minutes a game. Maybe you put that 14, 15 points a game to 18, 20. Maybe you see those assist numbers go up.
Right.
Obviously, right now, the playoffs are a little big for him. I 100% get that, Ty Lue. I get that. It's big for him. It was your fault for not coaching the guy and not giving him a mentor throughout this whole system. And now, since he's played no minutes, he's rusty. Same with Rodney Hood. Rodney Hood made a big mistake not going into that Raptors game, okay? Made a big deal out of it. Okay, he was stupid.
Yes.
But again, if you were playing him towards the end of the season and getting a 6'8" guard defender, okay, whether we play Golden State or Houston in the finals, you can't tell me that Rodney Hood would not be an X factor to at least put him in front of Kevin Durant. Because if you let him guard Kevin Durant, obviously Durant's still going to get his because he's the second best player in the league.
Yep.
But then you don't have to waste LeBron on him. You can put LeBron on Draymond Green. You can put LeBron on Klay Thompson and shut that guy down.
True.
So why Ty Lue? Were you not grooming these guys? I can understand not playing Larry Nance 30 minutes a night. I get that. He's not that kind of guy. He's a high energy off the bench guy, which is why I love him. And you need those kind of guys.
Yep.
You don't need them to play 30 minutes a game. They can play 15, 20 minutes a game because regardless, they're not going to fill up the stat sheet. They're there for energy, rebounds, defense. Great. You blew it with Jordan Clarkson and Rodney Hood.
Yep, and I'm going to hit on that too. Basically, Lou, the problem with this whole roster configuration is this roster and the salary cap and everything is still set up from 2 years ago when we won the title. We're still taking hits. We gave TT all that money. JR, Shump, I mean, these guys, regardless of whether they earned it, LeBron had a hand in it between the management, the meetings,
Yes, he did.
These guys earned this, blah, blah, blah. They will help me win a ring. Well, that's great and everything, but here we are 2 years later. We're not any younger. We don't have any other draft picks except this year. And you're asking Jordan Clarkson, you know what I mean, to do something he's never done before, which is A, play in the playoffs, B, start, and C, you're asking him, he's not a bad defender, but if you're going to be a starter, then you have to be halfway decent.
Yes.
You have to have that portion of your game buckle down. And I believe he went with George Hill due to the fact of he's a better defender. Not because he can run the point better, not because he's got the ball handling skills, going to the basket.
And that's understandable because
Right.
that's the guy. If George Hill's playing his game, shuts down Steph Curry.
Right. Well, we'll have to see.
Not shut down. Okay, not shut down. But at least he was better than Kyrie Irving playing defense on Steph Curry. Okay,
That's true.
So at least you have a 6'6"
yeah.
guard guarding Steph Curry, who's they listen at like 6'2", 6'3". He's really 6 foot, 6'1".
Yeah, he's a little guy.
So George Hill, as a point guard, would have 6 inches on him. So Steph Curry was still going to put up his 15, 20 points a game shooting threes. But at that point, then he's just chucking threes. And that makes him less efficient, which is stopping him.
My question is, how afraid are we when LeBron leaves? If he leaves, I should say, because I'm hoping he doesn't.
I don't think he will. But if he does.
But if he does, hypothetically, let's talk about the starting lineup of George Hill, Jordan Clarkson, Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson, and then who are we going to have play the three? Cedric? Cedi
Osman. I would, at that point, I think George Hill gets traded.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's another
but
problem.
But again, I don't think you're going to get a lot for George Hill, obviously, because that contract is huge.
$20 million
and he's
a
like
year
30,
against cap.
and he's like 33.
33.
Right? So you're not going to get a lot for him. You're going to get a middle of the road guy at best. Okay, that's a steal. So you're probably going to be looking at like, who's that 5'9" point guard we took last year, whatever his name. You're going to get
K. Felder.
Yeah, you're going to get a guy like that, which fine. You need to get younger. Just get the contract off the books. I think you'll keep Tristan Thompson. I think you'll see J.R. Smith go, and mainly for him because next year will be his last year in his deal.
Yeah.
So everybody loves expiring contracts because then he gets the money off the books. Somebody will take him. He's gonna want something to play for his next contract, right? Because it'll probably be his last one. So you'll have him go. You'll have George Hill go. You'll probably see Kevin Love go, and Kevin Love is the part that's going to be interesting. Or did the Cavs do something like this? Do they run if they trade George Hill, if they package that with an 8 pick, whatever, because like we discussed before, per the rules, they have to make the pick.
Yes.
But let's say the Pelicans are there and Trae Young is still sitting there at 8, and the Pelican, this is all hypothetical, okay? I've never seen anything written about this, anything, just something I'm making up in my own head.
Yeah.
Again, if Trae Young is ready to go, right, and the Pelicans want him, and if you haven't seen, DeMarcus Cousins is not so happy with the Pelicans right now. So that situation is a little toxic. DeMarcus Cousins could hit the open road. So say LeBron hasn't signed yet, and we're sitting there. You can trade George Hill, that 8 pick, and then just throw in a filler just to make whatever makes money work, right? You can do a sign and trade with DeMarcus Cousins. Then if LeBron still has not signed yet, you still get his bird rights. You can run LeBron, Kevin Love, DeMarcus Cousins, which is a crazy theory. I don't think LeBron's going to sign until way after the draft. I think it's going to be in July.
I think
maybe
he's
even
gonna
August. I think he's going to wait to see what.
Does.
I think he's going to see what the Cavs do. I think he's going to see what Philadelphia does. I still think the best situation for LeBron is Cleveland. I don't know how well him and Ben Simmons will work together in Philly, other than maybe him going to Houston to play with Chris Paul and James Harden. That would be kind of ridiculous.
Oh,
but I still think
sad.
it doesn't make sense for him to go to LA. That team's worse than Cleveland is right now.
Okay? Yeah, I agree with you.
So if it's not Philly, I don't think he's leaving. And I just don't think there's anywhere else for him to go. And I don't think Houston's going to clear the cap. So I think the Cavs really should look into the fact of doing a sign and trade with New Orleans for Boogie Cousins. Because as much as I know you love Trae Young, and Trae Young is looked at, he's kind of split right now. He is looked at either a Timber Fredette or the next Steph Curry.
Yep.
And to me, I don't know if it's worth the risk. And college kind of shut him down. But then again, you can make the argument he was the only guy Oklahoma had. So if they zeroed in on him, it's over.
And another thing, we're going to come out with a mock draft probably a little bit later at the end of the month.
Yeah, for
sure. But a lot of my mock drafts I'm reading and seeing, he's going in the top 5.
Really?
Yeah. So, and with us sitting at 8, even if he falls to 7, I mean, there's a chance we won't get him. It just a lot depends. I will say some other side notes. In theory, if I am the general manager of the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm getting rid of Lou and I'm hiring Dwayne Casey. That dude, 5 years, built that Raptors franchise into a playoff contender, and they may have choked in the playoffs, okay? But he still built them. You know what I mean? He still runs sets. He still is great when it's the substitutions. He had a bench, and I believe
the ball moved.
Yes.
The ball moved,
yes.
And his defense made sense. For the Cavs defense, and I'm going to hammer this over and over again, when somebody cuts to the lane, everybody guards that guy, and the three-point line's wide open.
Which doesn't help us if we're looking to the finals, because both teams are just going to shoot lights out.
And we're going to get killed. And I was completely incorrect thinking the Cavs even had a shot, and I definitely played homer role because the Cavs are not winning the finals this year. I'm just kind of coming out with it.
Which isn't – I mean, as fans, you guys got to remember, when we talk about this stuff, we're speaking from an analytic standpoint, a fantasy standpoint, and fans. Me and SkiveWalker are both big Cavs fans. They're our favorite NBA team. We're from Northeast Ohio pretty much, minus the Baltimore factor for me. But it's just – a lot has to do with LeBron. And unfortunately, my biggest, I would say, hate moment or hate thing on LeBron basically is he claims that it's a respect thing that he deserves max deals. Mm-hmm. You know, that's $32 million against the cap space, and you want to complain every year how you're not getting help. Right. You know what I mean?
Yep. We're going to have to save this one for a different podcast.
Yeah, we're going to have to get into it differently because we have a whole...
We're running out of time here, and we want to get into some more stuff, but I'm very excited. We need to talk about this here real soon to make this a upcoming podcast, because that subject alone is going to be a good 30-minute.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll turn into an hour after we get swept.
Oh, yeah.
Because I like you were talking about the panic factor, I've been slapping the button since game 1. As soon as I watched game 1, I went straight panic mode. We're getting swept. Brad Stevens got our number, and probably the worst thing ever is they don't even have Gordon Hayward or Kyrie Irving.
That's what's
so
scary.
When they come back next year and Terry Rozier's coming off the bench as a 6-man and terrorizing people, it's like,
right.
is the power transformation going to actually shift to the East then with the Celtics perhaps with Gordon Hayward?
Oh, for sure, 100%. Depending what the Cavs do the offseason, because
that is true.
That is going to be who the whole world is watching, but also the world's going to be looking at Philly, Cleveland, Boston.
Right, in the East at least.
Oh,
for sure.
And then probably the Lakers in the West, because they're going to have so much room.
Space,
Paul George, LeBron possibly. So again, we're gonna discuss this probably with the draft, right?
Yeah.
So we have a lot to go over. All right, so we're getting into the next one. I know you've been wanting to talk about this all day. Des Bryant and your Ravens. Go ahead. This one's all you, because I'm curious to see what you have to say.
Basically, I don't feel bad for Des Bryant. I know he had his little love affair with Romo and Jerry Jones with the Cowboys, but they cut ties with him. And to me, there isn't a bigger head case at wide receiver in the NFL right now. Maybe Odell Beckham, but Des Bryant. You're a free agent. I'm sorry, you're not in your prime anymore. You have an injury past history, and the only team to offer you a multi-year deal, you turned your nose up at them because you didn't want to play with Joe Flacco. Post-draft, let's let's wait 2 weeks after the draft because you turned us down the week before the draft. Now we got Lamar Jackson. We signed Willie Snead in the slot. Things are looking up, and you're still job hunting Des Bryant. So basically, my question to you is, was it worth it to really be snooty and turn your nose up? I mean, the only team to offer you a multi-year deal, you're not going to get the money you got from the Cowboys again.
No way.
There's no way people are going to give you upwards at maybe even $10 million a year
Not
like
when
you
his
want.
production's been declining for the past 3 years.
Yes.
Now, in his defense, I don't think he's ever had a great quarterback because I'm in the camp that has never liked Tony Romo and just always thought he was just a media playboy. I always thought he was overrated. But now he performed in the regular season, but I just don't put him in that ever top 10 quarterback status.
Did he catch the ball against Green Bay?
Oh, he definitely caught the ball.
No way.
He
dude.
definitely caught the ball.
No way. You got to make a football move to
He
the goal
definitely,
line.
he definitely made the
ball hit the
he
ground.
Definitely caught the ball. Definitely caught the ball. And then number two, not only did he go from Tony Romo, he went to a worse quarterback in Dak Prescott.
I think Dak is so overrated. I agree with you.
So are his numbers really deflating because of his age, or is it because the quarterback is just not good? Now I think that's what teams are kind of debating whether to sign Des Bryant or not, because when he was at the top of his game, he was an elite wide receiver. At one time, he was one of the best in the game.
2 to 3 years ago,
right.
yeah.
He's like 28 years old now. You should not be falling off at 28 years old as a receiver. You should be right in your prime.
Dude, all major sports are going through this youth movement. We're seeing it in baseball, too. I hate to sidetrack, but the whole DL, IR, injury report, I mean, the one thing I got to say are teams are taking care of their players that they have signed, and they're actually giving them the proper medical stuff that in the past players hadn't received. They are actually getting great care now. They're cared for better than most of us. Right. You know what I mean, for a entertainment sport.
Right.
So, but with Des not, I think Jason Witten, I read the other day, said that he's going to go to the Packers, but that doesn't make sense either.
Happen. The Packers already said they don't want him.
Because, they got rid of Jordy Nelson, and to me, Jordy Nelson and Des Bryant are both the same in my eyes. They have injury past. Jordy, I don't know about the age comparison, but I just feel like with this youth movement going on in the NFL, they're starting to play younger players. They're starting to, sometimes you can't even name who they're starting that day. You know what I mean, on Sundays. But I'm just fed up with Des Bryant. If people are really complaining that, there it is right there, ESPN. There's an article. Does not regret turning down Ravens contract. You will come July when you're not in a mini camp with anybody, and honestly, I'm happy we had.
Jordy Nelson's 32, so 29 and 32.
Okay, so Jordy Nelson's older, but I'm happy about us getting Crabtree. I'm more excited about Crabtree and Willie Snead than I would have been Des Bryant. He runs a 4.5, he's 6'2", he's 28, but he's a head case, man. I don't want to deal with Weapon X, and I don't want to deal with his shenanigans either.
No, I would actually take him in Indy right now, only because we don't have that number 2 receiver. And I think if Des Bryant would humble himself and take a 1 year, $5 to $8 million contract range and work with T.Y. Hilton and work with Andrew Luck, I think that would set him up big for his next contract. But we're going to talk some more NFL later because we only have a couple more minutes, and I want to hit on this. We're going to shift to baseball here, and we're going to talk a little bit of Tribe because we just had uploaded this morning.
Yep.
We talked Yankees, Orioles. We're going to talk Cleveland Indians. What is going on with the bullpen?
Dude, first off, I want to attack the division as a whole. Indians fans, for the past 5 years, you guys have pretty much had your way with the division. Besides a couple years of the Royals, but the last 2 to 3 years, you guys have run the AL Central. Now, the AL Central to me traditionally is weak. I'm sorry. I don't respect the Tigers. I don't respect the Royals. I don't respect the White Sox. Even the Twins, I don't really, respect or care for. But the Indians, growing up here in Northeast Ohio, I do like them. I do respect them. I think it's BS what's going on with Chief Wahoo getting taken away. Yep. But the bullpen, like you said, Andrew Miller comes off the DL, and then the first game back gives up 4 runs.
He should have went to. Now, he said he did not want to go through a minor league stint because he said he was ready. He definitely should have went to AA, AAA.
Yep.
But, how can you win with this bullpen? Oliver Drake, never heard of the guy. Evan Marshall, this isn't even the 40-man. This is the active 25. Oliver Drake, Evan Marshall, Zach can only throw fastball, McAllister.
Yep.
Andrew Miller, who's one of the best pitchers in baseball. But
Tyler Olson.
Coming off injury. Tyler Olson, who's You have Dan Otero, who's been terrible this year. Yep. Neil Ramirez. and Josh Tomlin should be in the pen, but I'll leave that for another podcast. But
Tomlin's terrible.
That bullpen is weak. I mean, I'm gonna pull it up. So go ahead and talk a little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna see what pitchers are left in baseball right now.
Okay, so basically, I got to give the Indians props on their starting four between Klub. They got Clevenger. They got Trevor Bauer, and then, of course, you got Cookie Carrasco. All right, those four, I mean, it is hard to find a better four-man rotation in Major League Baseball right now than those guys, but they're going to have off days. You're going to have these guys, everyone, for at least fantasy purposes, stat-wise, I like my starting pitcher to go 5 to 6 innings.
Oh, for sure.
And if they go 7 innings, that's a bonus, because then all you got to do is bring the setup man, and the closer.
And it's over.
Yep. So we're seeing, and don't take this the wrong way, Indians fans. You guys if you guys get upset about Kluber and his decline,
I'll
which
take him right now.
He's
I'll
still
take him in
great
New York right now. He's a top 5 pitcher.
He's slowly declining just because how much they rely on
used
him.
So much,
and he's going 6-7 innings. But like I said, I give you guys props. Now the Edward Encarnacion signing is looking a little bad right now. He's still struggling at the plate. I like the Yonder Alfonso from a standpoint defensively. I mean, his bats here and there. But you got Frankie and Jose. But besides that,
I'm looking at this list right now.
Yeah.
Houston Street, older guy. He's still got something left in the tank. Good bullpen guy, better than what they got. Oliver Perez, another good guy, older guy, but again somebody that you can rely on. Jabba Chamberlain, a former Yankee who had so much potential but kind of fell off.
Okay.
Still a decent relief pitcher. Okay, you have some older guys here, but there's also a lot of players we can trade for, and I'm sure we're going to be getting into this probably next month of players who we think each team should go after. But there's a lot of pitchers on this list that are 33, 34, older guys that aren't going to command a lot and can be better minimum. Like Francisco Rodriguez, not really a great pitcher,
right?
Especially at 36, but better than what they got. So why don't you fork up the money and just sign somebody? I mean, these guys are just sitting out here.
Well, unfortunately, the Indians are blessed with one of the best minor league systems, too. So it's not like they couldn't bring up Tristan McKenzie or some of these younger guys and give them a chance to pitch from the pen, even though they're starters. Right. You know what I mean?
Just get them up here, because this is just ridiculous what their bullpen is going through right now. And even yesterday, or even this podcast we put up today, I was not concerned for the Indian season at all. I'm still really not, because they have plenty of time to fix it.
Yeah, it's early.
But their meter for being afraid of the playoffs shouldn't be that high, because like we said, the division's terrible.
Yes.
But for getting bounced in the first round should be at a 10 right now.
Yes. And
when you have the teams like the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Yankees and the Red Sox, only one's winning the division, which means the other one's going to get a wild card game with who? The Twins? Okay, that's an easy one-gamer.
Twins or the Indians.
The Yankees and the Red Sox, neither of them have to waste an ace on that game.
The real question is, what about the AL West, though? Because you're going to have Houston win the AL West. But
so I guess you have the Angels, but are the Angels going to sustain this the whole year?
And the A's.
The Athletics,
yeah. So they're both in this right now.
But even with those teams, I still don't think the Yankees or the Red Sox will have to burn an ace on them.
I don't think so.
Because they're that, and I hate saying that the Red Sox are good. They are very good.
Yes. But it's so early now. We're making these judgments here in May when, we aren't even talking playoff baseball till end of September.
Gosh, yeah, there's so much longer to go, and the Indians bullpen very well could turn around. But I think they need to sign a guy or trade for a guy, because there's a guy killing it down in Cincinnati right now, and the Reds are hot, but the Reds are not going to make the playoffs.
No.
So you can always trade for that guy, and forgive me for not having his name. I'll have it up later, but. The guy is a very good pitcher, and he's under team control.
It's not Amir Garnett, is it?
No, not Garnett.
Okay. I know basically the analogy for you probably being a Yankees fan is the Indians need a relief pitcher like you guys need a first baseman, right?
We need a first baseman, and even more than a first baseman, I think the Yankees need a starting pitcher.
Dude, we'll give you Chris Davis and Andrew Kashner.
I do not want either. I do not want Mr. 176 Chris Davis with 50 Ks. I already have Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton probably going to strike out 180 to 200 times a year. I don't need another one. Man. And at least Aaron Judge is going to hit close to 300, and Giancarlo is going to hit like 260, 270, and hit 40, 50 bombs.
That's true. I'm not even going to – the Orioles don't even deserve to be talked about. They lost to the Phillies 4-1 one today. Phillies are looking up. But, yeah, we're going to get a couple more podcasts. I think what I have written on the schedule for us coming up is we're going to do the first quarter awards for baseball. We're going to break down some stats. If you listen to our baseball podcast today, you heard me and the SkiveWalker arguing about shortstops. I will give you props. You are correct. I isolated the AL because both our teams are in the AL. And to me, the 4 best shortstops.
They're definitely in the American League.
Yeah. And
the
Seager's hurt, so I got to exclude him this year from the conversation.
Right, because, he's out for the year.
I guess the only other one from the NL I can talk about really I like is Trey Turner.
Because Trevor Story is, again, a power hitter.
Dude, Coors Field inflates stats. Tulowitzki,
I was about to say the exact same thing.
So at least we agree on that. But we got a bunch.
Shortstops were the best.
I agree with you, yeah. So we got a bunch more stuff coming your guys' way. We have mock drafts for the NBA. I still need to break down. I got the AFC North that's going to get broke down after the draft. Like I said, we got the baseball awards for the first quarter.
I'm just going to say this before we go because I know you got to get moving.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is putting the Colts at the bottom of their rosters, and I can understand why because without Andrew Luck, that roster is terrible. But what they've done on the offensive line, which is the biggest issue, and they still have a lot of holes on defense, but again, the NFL, just like the NBA, is moving more offense than defense.
Yep.
If Andrew Luck gets healthy, this team is going to surprise a lot of people.
Okay.
And then Frank Reich is going to win Coach of the Year. My bold prediction. Here's my bold prediction. But even before we get here, bold prediction: Colts win the AFC South and Frank Reich wins Coach of the Year. And we're not going to the Super Bowl, but we win. We get away with we have to play a wild card team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We beat the wild card team and then lose to the divisional round.
Do me a favor, tweet Jalen Ramsey what you just told me about the Colts. I'd like to see if he responds to you or not.
I don't think he's gonna respond.
But I'm not gonna be so bold because the Ravens have a knack for surprising me when I think they're going to be terrible, and when I think they're going to be good, they end up being terrible. I'm actually worried after the talent that was added by the rest of the teams in the division. I'm thinking 8-8, 7-9, nothing over 9-7 best case. I got Joe Flacco not responding to Lamar Jackson's calls and texts, so that's a whole separate podcast I'll get into. Just doesn't look good in Baltimore. Dez doesn't want to play with us, which I'm not losing any sleep over, but it's a simple fact of this is Ozzy's last year. I'd like him to go out with a playoff appearance.
Yeah.
And DaCosta, who's taking over for him, I'm not really worried about. Harbaugh's probably going to lose his job if we don't go to the playoffs this year. Mm-hmm. And from there, we probably are going to look to cut ties with Joe Flacco and
reboot.
Yep, and they want to do it with Lamar Jackson, which you guys will find out later in the next show I do. Not really a fan. Inflated stats, running a spread offense at Louisville.
You don't like your new franchise quarterback?
No, I don't. I like C.J. Mosley. I like the defense, like I always have, but the Ravens' way is not the offensive way. So, but we're running out of time here, and I enjoyed doing this one. We'll have to get another one going soon as I go to work the zombie shift.
Yep.
So,
all right, man.
Take it easy.
Peace out. I will sign us off because, again, guys, while he's heading out, we're going to have some different interesting podcasts coming up. Like the Fett just listed off some other stuff, but we're going to be talking some E3. We're going to get into some more interesting stuff that I'm not going to bring up now, but definitely E3 I'm excited for. But all right, guys.
Xbox for life.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. All right, SkiveWalker signing off. Peace.